Welcome to our deep dive into the biggest AI controversies happening right now. Because it turns out, handing over the reins of complex decision-making to lines of code, yeah, it's not exactly going as smoothly as that time you tried to microwave a whole egg. From ethical dilemmas that would make your philosophy professor spontaneously combust, to privacy concerns that make Mark Zuckerberg look like a champion of discretion, we're covering it all. Buckle up, because things are about to get algorithmically awkward. So, let's talk about AI in warfare, shall we? Because apparently, mutually assured destruction wasn't quite cutting it in the terrifying ways to end humanity department. We've graduated from drones controlled by actual humans with, a conscience and stuff, to the prospect of autonomous weapon systems. Basically robots making life or death decisions on the battlefield with all the moral nuance of a Roomba bumping into a wall. Now, proponents will tell you this is all about minimizing casualties, making warfare more precise. But let's be real, is precision the first word that springs to mind when you think about war? Because I'm pretty sure it's closer to cluster asterisk CC, and adding AI to the mix isn't exactly going to help with that brand identity. The ethical implications here are about as subtle as a tank driving through your living room. Do we really want to outsource the decision to end a human life to an algorithm that can't tell the difference between a soldier and a civilian holding a bag of groceries? And even if the tech worked perfectly, which, let's face it, is about as likely as finding a decent bagel in this economy, who's accountable when things inevitably go wrong? Is it the robot, the programmer, the defense contractor who made a killing, pun absolutely intended, selling this thing in the first place? It's a moral minefield out there, folks, and we're marching straight into it with the technological equivalent of a blindfold and a hand grenade. Remember when the height of surveillance was a grainy security camera outside your local 7-Eleven? Those were simpler times. Because now we're talking facial recognition software, predictive policing algorithms, and data collection on a scale that would make the NSA blush. It's enough to make you want to live off the grid, if you could find a grid remote enough to escape the ever-watchful gaze of AI. Proponents argue it's about safety, about preventing crime. And sure, maybe it's stopping some shoplifting at the mall, but at what cost? We're normalizing constant monitoring, eroding our right to privacy with every passing algorithm. And let's not forget the inherent biases baked into these systems, often trained on data sets that disproportionately target marginalized communities. Think about it. An AI trained on data skewed by decades of over-policing in certain neighborhoods is going to inherit those biases, perpetuating a cycle of discrimination under the guise of objectivity. It's like trusting a racist parrot to tell you who to be friends with, just because it can squawk probable cause on cue. The bottom line is, when it comes to AI surveillance, we're trading our freedom for the illusion of security, and that's a deal that should have us all hitting the decline cookies button on this dystopian nightmare. You know that saying, garbage in, garbage out? Well, it turns out it applies to AI as well. Because behind those lines of code, those seemingly objective algorithms, there's a dirty little secret human bias. That's right, we're passing on our worst impulses to the machines, like some kind of terrible inheritance nobody wanted. Think about it. An algorithm is only as good as the data it's trained on. So if you feed it a diet of biased information, guess what? You're going to get biased results. It's like teaching a dog to shake using only your left hand and then being surprised when it looks at you like you've grown a second head when you try it with your right. We're seeing this play out in all sorts of disturbing ways. From hiring algorithms that discriminate against women and minorities to loan approval systems that disadvantage entire communities, AI is replicating and amplifying existing inequalities at an alarming rate. The problem is, we're treating these algorithms like they're some kind of neutral arbiter of truth, when in reality, they're just a reflection of our own messed up selves. And until we address the root causes of bias in our society, we're just going to keep creating AI that perpetuates the same old crap, but faster and at scale. Remember when the big fear was robots taking over blue-collar jobs? Well, guess what? The robots are coming for your spreadsheets and PowerPoints next. That's right, white-collar workers. It's not just about factory automation anymore. AI is coming for your customer service gigs, your data entry positions, even your lawyerly legal briefs. And look, I get it. Nobody wants to do a job that can be done by a well-trained Roomba. But the problem is, what happens when those jobs disappear and there's nothing to replace them? We're talking about mass unemployment, folks, on a scale that would make the Great Depression look like a mild economic downturn. Now, the optimists will tell you that AI will create new jobs, better jobs, and maybe they're right. But those new jobs will likely require specialized skills, education, and training that most displaced workers simply don't have access to. So what are they left with? Fighting over the few remaining gigs that haven't been automated yet. Competing with each other for scraps while the robots rake in all the profits. It's a recipe for social and economic upheaval. And we need to start figuring out solutions now, before we're all left scrambling for table scraps in the shadow of our new robot overlords. Here's the thing about a lot of AI. We don't actually know how it works. It's like trusting a magic 8-ball to make life-altering decisions, only instead of a plastic toy, it's a complex algorithm shrouded in secrecy and proprietary code. And that lack of transparency is a huge problem. When AI makes a decision, especially one with significant consequences, we need to understand why. How did it arrive at that conclusion? What factors were considered? What data was used? Without those answers, we're essentially flying blind, trusting these systems to make fair and impartial judgments without any way to verify their reasoning. And let's not forget about accountability. When something goes wrong, as it inevitably will, who's responsible? Is it the developer who wrote the code, the company that deployed the algorithm, the government agency that sanctioned its use? Without clear lines of accountability, it's all too easy for those in power to shirk responsibility, leaving individuals with little recourse when things go wrong. We need to demand transparency from the companies and institutions developing and deploying these systems. We need clear explanations, ethical frameworks, and independent oversight to ensure that AI is used responsibly and ethically. Otherwise, we're just setting ourselves up for a future where the machines are calling the shots, and we're all just along for the ride. So, there you have it. A crash course in the messy, complicated, and often terrifying world of AI controversies. We've covered everything from killer robots to biased algorithms, and the takeaway is clear. This stuff is powerful, it's evolving rapidly, and it has the potential to reshape our world in profound ways, both good and bad. Thanks for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more updates on the latest in AI and technology. Because let's face it, this is just the tip of the iceberg. As AI continues to develop, so too will the ethical and societal challenges it presents. Let us know in the comments what you think about these controversies, and if there are any other topics you'd like us to cover, because the only thing more dangerous than unchecked AI is a society that's too afraid to even talk about it.